Hi everyone, VortexTCG here, and today I've got a gameplay video of not me playing, but some of my friends playing. The person on the left is going to be playing Sukamon, and on the right, the opponent's going to be playing Red Hybrid. I ended up getting the bye for the round, so might as well record a game, right? So if you're looking forward to this gameplay video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks to all of you guys, we're growing rapidly, and just makes me want to make more content for you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying the content that I am producing. Anyways, my opponent's going to, well, not my opponent, I have to remind myself that I'm not playing. Right side player is going to be playing the Red Hybrid, and he plays out the Flamemon that allows him to search, and then pass the turn. Opponent on the left is going to be playing the Proto Gizumon, which is kind of an interesting choice for Suka. We were talking about this type of deck, and there are definitely points where it felt very bricky, but I ended up winning the tournament, which is kind of crazy. Guess that doesn't really say much about Gizumon, but the opponent's going to swing Flamemon into security, hits a Pride Memory Boost, and finally gets a Tamer, which is quite nice here. And the Pride Memory Boost is definitely something that is going to potentially come up very quickly, because just the extra 2 memory for this deck is going to be very important. And let's see what the opponent can do with this. He swings the Proto Gizumon into the Flamemon, and then swings the Sukamon into security, hits a Flamemon, and then is able to reveal. And this is one of the issues that this deck definitely has, is that as you're playing way too many colors, you'll have sometimes trouble finding cards that you want to use, essentially. And so the opponent here is going to be playing the TK to look at the security, adds the King Suka from the security, and then recovers 1 as well. And then pass the turn by going into the Tumon. And then now it's the opponent's turn, and they're going to hatch an egg. Apologies for the glare. This is my first time recording from this angle, so apologies if there is a little bit of problems with this recording. It's something that I definitely want to improve in the long term. Because I feel like the quality from a top-down perspective is probably better than a side angle, I guess. But let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Opponent's going to swing a security and then play the Takuya here, just to set up for the next turn. And I feel like the Red Hybrid player is doing pretty well here. Got essentially maybe even game next turn, depending on what happens. The opponent here is going to Digivolve into the Sukamon, swings into security, and it doesn't die. Oh, it does die here. Allows him to look at the top 3, gets to add the Sukamon and trash the rest. Then the Tumon allows him to play out one of the Tumons from the trash. So he plays out I believe this is the BT13 one, I could be wrong, which allows him to trash 1 to add 1 from trash. And then he is going to Digivolve on top of it to the Platinum Sukamon, and this card is very annoying. I was kind of surprised about it, if I'm being perfectly honest, but this card does a lot. Allows you to Digivolve, and it counts itself as a Sukamon, so yeah, it's definitely strong in my opinion. But there is no blocker on the opponent's field, so I feel like potentially game could be had here. He definitely has the he decides to swing into security, or not security, the Platinum here, which allows him to draw a card because he has a Tamer out. And I can't see the full hand here, but he does have the Gravity Crush, so maybe he has a way of getting game. Not 100% sure here. Just to bear in mind, the opponent on the right, this is their first time playing Red Hybrid, so they were learning on the go essentially. Goes into, I believe this is the Burning Greymon, which allows him to delete, and then he's going to delete the Proto Gizu, which doesn't allow the opponent to play out another Gizumon here. He swings into the Tumon because I assume at this point he just doesn't have enough of the cards, maybe. Definitely can be the case. So he promotes from the Tamer, another Burning Greymon, to delete the Sukamon, and then pass the turn. And the opponent's looking like opponent on the right's looking pretty good in this situation, but it just depends on what the follow-up is going to be from the Suka player. So they go into the Pride Memory Boost to pass the turn here, which allows them to play the Platinum Suka, and yeah, pass the turn. So I feel like at this point maybe the opponent here has got game and definitely feels it for sure. but he has the option card that allows him to get security at +1, but now it's just a case of can he finish the game essentially on the following turn. So I think he needs to get rid of all this security, but maybe he made a bit of a misplay from digivolving into the Burning Greymon. Maybe he should have just played another Tamer, because then he would have guaranteed game here, in my opinion, because then you'll have another one to digivolve on top of, and then also use the option card that gets you +3k and then security at +1. So very unfortunate here for my opponent, especially as he had the Grav Crush in hand. So he plays the Grav Crush now, which is probably not worth it in my opinion, and he goes into level 4 and then swings with Blitz, I believe. And then, yeah, in my opinion, definitely a bit of a misplay here. I just feel like you shouldn't be prioritizing the level 4 here, because it just doesn't make any reason why to, if I'm being totally honest. So he goes into the Emperor Greymon and then decides to not swing, which again I think is a big mistake. I mean, you just got to be applying pressure, because if you don't apply pressure, you're just essentially just leaving guys on the field ready for it to become a Suka token essentially. So he goes into the King Suka shockingly, and then he is able to make one of them a Suka token, which is also 3k and white. Then goes into the Sukamon itself, which allows them to, or swings with the King Suka, and it's got 3 security checks, which is problematic. And then I believe he dies here, or can potentially die, but as he dies, he loses the additional security attack, so that's very important. So it keeps him alive here, which is very important, but I think at this point, I don't think he can really do that much. I feel like at this point he's kind of spread himself a little bit too thin, and now we've got a big problem here with the Gizumon XT, I believe this is, which essentially just allows him to have a blocker, yeah, this is not looking good whatsoever in my opinion. If he swung a little bit earlier, maybe he would have been a bit more fine, but as of right now, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So now it's the opponent's turn, and they only have 1 hybrid, so they kind of need to bait out the blocker, but yeah, it's definitely not looking good. So he has the option here, but I think if he does that, he'll be able to get over the blocker, but the opponent's not obviously going to be doing the blocker, so he swings first, does the, I think this is like 12 checks, something like that, hits a Tamer and then hits a Gizumon, and now it's just a case of, is he able to go into, or swing for game, and as he's only at 1 memory, it's looking very, very unlikely, unfortunately. So yeah, feels like he just misplayed this pretty badly, unfortunately. So he decides to go into the Agunimon here, which he then swings at security and then wins game 1. We then get into game 2, and the red hybrid player is going to be starting off first, goes into the Flamemon here, and then he should be playing a Tamer here to pass the turn, and that's what he does. He sets the set to 3 Tamer, which is obviously the best one that he could go into as of right now. So opponent goes into the Tumon here, and then it goes into the Platinum Suka for 3, is that? And then goes to Proto Gizumon, hard playing it to draw 1 and discard 1. Then the red hybrid player is going to promote, and he's going to swing at security. He should be able to draw additional card, which he does there. And yeah, he's off to the races, so he plays another Takumi, and this is just what you need to do essentially. You just got to apply pressure with your Tamers and then just get ready for a massive swing turn. So he swings Proto Gizmon into the security, hits a Flamemon here, and then swings the Tumon, hits another Tamer. So at this point it feels like he should definitely have game on the following turn, plays a Proto Gizmon to pass the turn, and then it should be a clear-cut game in my opinion, because he has a lot of memory to play with and should be able to do. But he decides to clear the field here instead, which again is just an easier way to deal with the board. So he decides to return the 2 protos to play the AT, which allows to draw 2 and discard 2. But yeah, I think it's pretty hard for the opponent to come back from this. But yeah, yeah. And I think here, I think we're just checking rulings maybe, I'm not 100% sure. So now it's just a case of what to do, and so he goes into the Burning Greymon here to pass the turn. So then he hatches the egg, goes into the Junkmon. I don't like going into the Burning Grey straight away, because it essentially just means like this is going to be deleted. But he decides to play the TK here, recover 1 as well. So it's got pretty good, I'd say. Got the Flamemon and also the. Actually, I think you're not if I'm correct, the Crimson Blaze shouldn't have been able to play at the 80, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. Let me just check this real quick, but I'm pretty sure that is a misplay. I could be wrong. Let me just check. Yeah, so that is a bit misplay. Definitely shouldn't have got the draw 2 and discard 2. Yeah, cheating as usual. I would never cheat. My opponent, well, left player, Sukamon cheater, confirmed. I didn't even realize he played the Crimson Blaze because I was watching him on the side. But I think he's got this game anyway. So he goes into the option, swings 2 times, is able to gain 2 memory back, and then is able to hopefully Inguni. What's he gonna do here? I think this is his first time playing the deck, so I feel like he's having a little bit of struggle trying to figure out what to do with this deck, if I'm being honest. He swings into security, hits a Tumon, and now the opponent's only on 1 security left, but yeah, should be definitely in a worse position. Goes into the Aguni, swings 1 more time, it dies, is able, oh no, it doesn't die, I think it's like 1k DP difference. Oh no, it gains the DP, then he ends the turn by going into the not the hybrid, but the Tamer for the follow-up. And I think at this point the opponent kind of understands that there isn't really much they can do, so they swing a security, hits a Takuya, and I think at that point it is pretty much done. So they swing at the Aguni effect, I believe, but I think he has a Tamer in play. Don't know, and then he goes Flame Hellscythe to delete, and then it's just a case of swinging for game. Opponent swings for game. And now we get onto the final game. Opponent's going to start with a Proto Gizumon, trashing or drawing and discarding, and then Red Hybrid is going to go into the Flamemon. This is the piercing one, which is what I wasn't expecting, and then plays the Takuya to pass the turn. So a pretty decent setup for the opponent here on the right. Then they go into Tumon and then play a TK. Is then able to pick up the Tumon and then add 1 to security. And then at this point, opponent, Red Hybrid decides to promote, go into the Agunimon here, draw a card, and then is able to apply some pressure. So they are, I think they're going to swing at security. We'll see. Will they swing at security? Yes, they will. Shocking. And it hits a Flame Hellscythe, deleting the Aguni and playing the Gizmon AT. So that's not good. That is not good. That is not good. Let's put it that way. So now it's just a case of recovery for the opponent on the right here. They get to play the Flamemon out here, I believe, for free, and then is able to. I think at this point, like, this shows how the unfamiliarity of the deck, because I think we were all saying like you can add hybrids, you know, and my opponent was like, where does it say hybrid on the card? Which was quite funny. So opponent on the left, we're playing Chu, decides to promote Chu here, and yeah, definitely in a good position. The person on the left is. They swing at security here, hits a Burning Greymon, it seems, swings the Proto, hits the Atomic Inferno, which gives everything +1 security on the following turn, which is very, very useful, game winning in certain situations. So hopefully the Red Hybrid is going to be able to take full advantage of that. Then the opponent on the left plays Parabolic Junk, swings in security and hits. I believe this is the what is it? I can't remember what the level 6 is called, but it's like something Greymon. So they're able to get the 2 memory back, which I don't know, man. Every time like I've played Parabolic Junk, his opponent tries to play Prime Memory Boost, but they can't because they don't have a black source. They decide to go into the Tumon here, and then I think here they're going to pass by playing the Prime Memory Boost here potentially, but they decide to play the Flame Hellscythe, deletes the Flamemon, and then go into one of the Digimon he has in trash, which is quite a lot. Goes to the King Suka here because I believe at the moment he might have Security +1, or it might just be for Sukas in general. So Red Hybrid has Security +1 on the follow on this turn, so let's see what they can do. They're checking their discard here. Is it Burning Greymon? Something like that. I can't remember what the level 6 is called. I should probably research, maybe. Who would have thought? But anyways, opponent is going to consider their options. I think at this point, like, we told him pretty much the one big trick of this deck is that if you have the old Takuya, it says reveal 5 or put 5 underneath and then Digivolve into the level 6. But it doesn't matter because hand knowledge is secret, so you don't know if they have it or not. So that is a key point. And the opponent on the right here playing Red Hybrid is going to take advantage of it. Maybe not this turn, but he is fully aware of that. Goes into the Burning, hits the Flame Hellscythe, which is very, very unfortunate. It doesn't die here, and this is where we would do it. We're checking the line of effects here because the Takuya says your turn. If you're swinging, you gain +2 memory when it has 10k. But the 10k check happens at the end of that also. Here I was just checking to make sure, and I was looking it up, and my friend on the left, Fraser, was saying that you shouldn't be able to get the additional check or something like that. I can't remember fully, but essentially like it happens with a different trigger, so he would be able to get the memory back, unfortunately. But yeah, if he didn't have the DP reduced, then it wouldn't have mattered, but as he did have the DP reduced, it did matter, unfortunately. So at this point, it's just a case of can the Red Hybrid player survive this turn, because, well, at this point, the opponent on the left has got a considerable board, and is there any real way out of it? Not 100% sure, if I'm being perfectly honest. So they do have the Gravity Crush in hand, so maybe they might be able to make something work with that potentially. But it is just a case of how far you can go, and I think even here I spotted like where he went wrong, because what he could have done is he could have gone into, no, we're just checking here, he doesn't gain the memory. This is the discussion that was happening continuously to make sure that we got the ruling right, because I don't want the ruling to be wrong, but because we're just like talking about it essentially. But I think when I look at this hand now, he definitely misplayed. I think he could have easily won game here because he had the, I think it's Emperor Grey here, and then we all go, you should have won if you have that, for example, because he has the 5 in trash, which will allow him to easily get the security attack +1, and then he'll get the +1 from the tamer itself. And so yeah, for me it was definitely clear that he had game here, so that's very unfortunate. But this is again his first time playing the deck, so cut him some slack, guys. Don't beat him up, please. But he decides to go into the Emperor Greymon here, I think it is. I think it's Emperor Grey. I'll pretend it is Emperor Grey. It is Emperor Grey. But here I think we were just all saying like, yep, you should have done that. You should have done that earlier. And I was just looking at here, like his hand, I was like, yep, you definitely should have, because it has additional security at +1, so he could have easily just got rid of all of his security. He would be on like something crazy like 23k DP or something like that, and it wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, so he swings into the Proto to try and stop him from winning, but he does have the return, which allows him to play out the AT here, which is very unfortunate. So yeah, not a great situation for my opponent here. Swings the last 2 security here, which is perfectly fine. And then at this point the game is pretty much over because they have 3 swings unless there's something big in security that stops everything, like the Crimson Blaze. This game has essentially ended. So they end the turn by playing the Tamer, and I think the Red Hybrids players' fears have become true. It's just a case of them swinging at this point. So at this point, because he played the Grav Crush, he wasn't at the right memory, so the left player had more memory, swung 2 times, swung the 3rd time, and then swings for game.